Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to not the forever last, but today the last session. And it is about academic publishing, or maybe a little bit more broadly, publishing of science. You will hear from editors, you will hear from scientists' own experience, you will hear about the game, and you will hear from a publishing company as well. So let's start it. Science, pseudoscience, and fake publications. So what makes a publication good? What makes a journal good? Those were actually Baird's questions. I gave a different title. And let's start with the journal. So there are a number of issues. We all know today. I will talk about it, not in details, but just kind of one by one. But let me introduce you to Precision Nanomedicine. I'm the editor-in-chief of that journal, meaning that the mission of the journal is to help the Clinum family. And it started 6 years ago when we decided that if we can work for me and 65 other good scientists, we can work for commercial publishers for free, we can work for ourselves for free. And then we can do the different things and the way we would like to know and would like to continue. So first of all, I'd like to congratulate our board members. Some of you have seen this list who were listed on the 2023 World Top 2% Scientists in an alphabetical order. Find your name if you haven't seen it yet. And if it's not there, there is no problem, because there are so many ways to massage. This is only by lifetime citation numbers, and our 67 board members, 45 in the top 2 scientists. Science has many definitions. And all scientific methods try to exclude subjectivity, that is the human element, as opposed to politics, which is really and purely, sorry, I have to learn this. Go back. Okay. Try to exclude subjectivity as opposed to politics, which is perception-based, is always subjective. Can change any time when a political system or a representative change, and business which is driven by profit. But these three cannot, these three coexist. They cannot exist without one of each other. Pseudoscience is a substitute for science, and it's very easy to recognize, but it always has very simple explanation, usually based on hearsay or partial understanding. The fake science differs from pseudoscience by intention. Fake science is, why it is moving forward all the time? Fake science different from by intention. These are the publications to have, and the reason is the authors fulfill their obligations towards formally and predatory publishers to make money. Let me emphasize that Precision Nanomedicine is a free journal supported by Clinum and other donations. A free journal cannot be predatory, so don't be worried about that. What makes a public publication good? The more connected our data, more understanding to data, the better our understanding are. So you perform data, you understand the relations between data, that creates an information. And you understand the pattern of this information, it creates knowledge. And this good publication contributes to knowledge and improves understanding as well. And this red oval, that's the purpose of the research articles. Because reviews supposed to synthesize and understand principles and patterns, and supposed to synthesize information, not only collect information and create knowledge. Now, wisdom is not a general. Not everybody. Knowledge is general, and the science will go a little bit later, because it's proven knowledge. But the wisdom is individual. So just like that, everybody can read and write, but not everybody is a famous poet. Which helps us to take, wisdom helps us to take intelligent actions, and which allows to simplify complexity. Could it be more simple than that? How hard was and how long was the road to the simple expression? So simplifying complexity makes us quantitative prediction possible, and that's what really makes science work, because that's when something can go to production and testing first, and production and help it. And let me emphasize that publications are not science. It's a very general mistake newspapers make. Is science this, science that? No, those are publications. And that's yesterday's shared information and knowledge, organized and stored somehow, somewhere. A long time ago, when it all started, the original purpose was to provide information and some knowledge to scientists, to share these things. And writers, readers were the same. Peer review were done by peers, and usually they published themselves, and that was a very bad business. It was not a good business. And now, what is dominated by existential needs, tenure, grants, papers, allowing to graduate, sharing information, that's same. But writers and readers are often not the same. And peer review, quote-unquote peer reviews, often sub-quality because they are not the same people. And we are trying to inform everybody, not the inform and the everybody, none of them is perfect. For scientists today, there are many reasons for publishing a paper. To graduate, especially for young scientists, existential reasons dominate, that's obvious. To graduate, they want to satisfy career, to get tenure, to please your supervisor, and for leader scientists, for more senior ones, your grant proposal requires publications. You cannot get money unless you publish. Your progress report needs publications. Sometimes you have to organize meetings as well. This one is an exception. To get citations, to measure your abilities, and to demonstrate your research performance, and so on, your importance. And unfortunately, many authors now, because of the existential reasons, today don't write articles to be read, but to be counted. In the past 10 years, let's take some data. So number of publishing scientists reached about 10 million in 2022. Now it's compared the 7.8 billion when I calculated this is a very low percentage of science. So let's not forget that we are the privileged, not the privileged 1%, we are the privileged 0.1%. The number of authors, interestingly, is growing 8 to 9% a year. In the past 10 years, about 4 articles per year, 2013, and then it's growing at night, it's about 5 to 6, again, average, all the field. But interesting that the number of articles by unique authors is the same, twice 10 years, which means that larger groups divided more into little parts. We all know that. You've seen it too. And the problem with this peer review is like democracy. There's nothing better. It's not right, it's not good, it's not just all the time, but there's no better. And now we exceeded the level of generated information that it's very hard to judge, very hard to quantify. Quantify is easy. So it required at least 9 million quality critics, but the reviewer responds in general at about 30%. And those reviewers are not the most active ones, are not the most qualified ones. The highest granted reviewer, if I remember correctly, he wrote 160 reviews and published 13 papers. Somehow I hard to believe in that, and because the present system, unfortunately, that you don't know, motivates authors to publish more and not better. It's called salami slicing within the industry. Known problems, hyper-sensationalism. promotion and gradient rules set by ages ago when it was paper-based publications, had to bind journals, that electronic information remains accessible almost forever. Of course, greed, and I'm going to list some of the recent menaces. Hype. This is a paper that talks about that why most published research fundings are false. Ironically, this is false too. But it's a very attractive, clickbait to click and read, and it has many, many citations, many, many reads. Second, commercial publishing used to be and still is a great money-making opportunity. So we accept $4,000 price tag, then it's about $600. The publication cost, actually, our small journal, when we do ourselves a lot of things voluntarily, it's about $300 per article. We're counting about 25 articles a year. And non-publication costs are about $2,200, and the profit is $1,200. That's better than Pfizer's, because Pfizer workers get a salary. Science workers do not, at least not from that source. So journal impact was the same, the promotion and gradation rules set before the computer age. The impact factor was created which journals libraries should buy. And of course, those that are found, the higher journal impact factors, they showed up the institution's name, and that was good for the institution. But who goes today to the library to read papers? Nobody. You search on the internet. So that should not be misrepresented an impact factor or even impact, and not judged for individual authors. If we added up everybody's publications in the audience now, and then calculated average number, what would that number say of you, or you, or you? What would it say about the meetings? Oh yes, it would. It's like the individual authors and the journals. Impacts, publication may have impact. Impact on science, impact on publishers, and impact on scientists we talked about before. What does a publication in an IF journal gives you? It fulfills an existential need. It's not, and it might give you a better chance to read. There are certain beliefs that generally the most read is the most cited. No, it's not true. None of them is true. These are the top 100 publications in GCR. Only 4 Nature and 3 Science publications made the first 100. And the most cited papers on the right, you see the impact factor is below 5. It's okay, and the first number 6 is biological lab technique. Of course, because they use over and over and over and over again. The first in physical science is number 7. Well, you know, for example, the Bradford paper was in a 2.3 journal, but received 155,000 citations. Is it really the measure of the importance of that person? Probably, or maybe, I don't know. I would love to have just 50,000 citations. What does a rejection from a high impact factor journal say? This is Sir Peter John Radcliffe, a British Nobel laureate physician scientist. And this is the rejection letter from Nature for the work that just got the Nobel Prize. So these are urban legends spread by people and those who have interest in that kind of thing. And in addition, they determine whether you are good or not good or how good enough. Oh, by the way, Bruce and others, anybody wants to have the presentation, drop me an email or send it out. I'm happy if my views are spread. So science, the other issues, the electronic information. Science choruses of publications, not yet. And COVID-19 studies still retracted but cited. I'm going to speed up a little bit, but you see that more than 1,000 times without. That means that nobody looked at it, whether it is valid or not. There are blacklisting at Cabell's journal, which is institutional subscriptions only. A few examples, and published omics and Canadian academic journals, so on. You will read it when you have time. This is an example. But there's whitelisting for, especially for open access, which is free. So you can go there and figure out whether it's good. The really famous journals are known anyway. They have a good history. The newest menace is just shameless, because Spencer will talk about a few of them. Shameless scams and peer review for sale. Dead journals, anything you published in that, it's gone. Paper mills. And there is the one I want to use my authority to add 1 minute for my time. The preprint problem. The only problem with California South University of South California exists. This doesn't. It's not on the map. It's on the internet. You can find it even now. So it's not a movement, neither in Garden Grove or Irvine, California, but it allegedly has 150 buildings. Paper mills, I leave it to you. Preprint problem. Preprint's original idea was to stake out an area for yourself, but they are unchecked for quality and widely referred in newspapers as science. For example, no credible evidence that COVID-19 has a bioengineered origin, but that was a bioarchive article that was withdrawn and then picked up in 2 days. It was spread all over the world. And it's bad news that Clarivate now added preprint citation index to the Web of Science as of February, and that's not good. Although, so my 2 cents advice: follow Retraction Watch, retractionwatch.com. It's very simple, it's free, and read the Scientist Journal. Don't worry, science will be fine. It's not the number of this, it's the tendency, the way it goes. Thank you very much for your attention.